Here with Pelicans forward Trey Murphy. Trey, how you doing today, man?
Doing well. Appreciate you having me.
Appreciate you joining me today. We're going to talk a little bit NBA, a little bit of your game as well. You've been one of the most improved players in the league this season. I want to start off with some general NBA stuff. Draymond Green on Saturday at All-Star Weekend doing a ton of interviews. He's asked about the state of the game, and he says the state of the game is very boring. I don't agree with that. I think the game's fun. I still have fun watching basketball. What do you think, Trey?
I have fun playing basketball. So I mean, yeah, I feel like there's something more to it than what he's saying. I think one thing, though, the trade deadline made ratings go up a lot. So, like, I think people are more intrigued and more tuned into what's going on basketball-wise. Now, the level of play when it comes to, like, the last 2 weeks before All-Star might be a little boring. I will say that because everybody's trying to just make it All-Star. But NBA being boring in general, I don't know for sure.
Well, what do you love about basketball then? Because you play it and you watch it, you podcast, you do stuff as well. You're doing media here this weekend. You definitely, live and die basketball. But like, what do you love about it? What do you enjoy right now?
Oh man, I could really go into a real yap session on what I really love about basketball. But it's a lot of times just like the little stuff. Like it could just be like the way the net moves, like different type of nets, the different ridges on the ball that we play with. It could be just the sound of a basketball. Like it's very simple stuff that, I just find like little things I love about basketball. And then watching basketball is just learning. I think the biggest thing for me, I like learning a lot and just watching other people do it and try to put it into my game.
One of the things I like, you mentioned learning, is I like seeing progress. I like seeing guys go from point A to point B, like with you at College of Virginia to what you've become now, what you are doing now, 25 points per game in the last 20 games. You're one of the most improved players, definitely one of the most underappreciated players in the NBA, but even seeing teams improve, like the Orlando Magic, obviously up and down for them this year with Paolo Banchero missing time, Franz Wagner missing time, but it's cool to see that team come together. With like a team like the Orlando Magic, how have you seen their progress happen this year?
That's crazy. First of all, I spent a little time with Mosley during a select team for the last 2 years, so I've gotten to know him. Really good dude, really great coach. And then also to the guys on that team, they're also just really good guys, and also they know how to play basketball. As you saw, they lost Paolo throughout the year. They lost Franz at different parts of the year, and they didn't really drop off and play. Like, they still won games, and it's just a testament to coaching as well as just their scheme and the players that they have on the roster. I'm not really surprised because all those dudes can play, and I think if they had a really fully healthy season, I think they could really be in that top 3 conversation of those, Big East guys, Big East teams.
Now with like Big East, thinking
the Big East teams.
Now, I mean, like with you, you're what, 6'8", 6'9"?
Give or take.
I mean, similar size to Franz and Paolo, and like you guys.
Well, we'll say Franz. Paolo's big. Paolo's large dude.
Paolo wide as well.
Yeah,
Franz, but like with the guys that height who run a ton of pick and roll, can handle the ball. You're doing that increasingly this year. What are some of the challenges for a defense when it comes to some of those offensive initiators, a Franz, Paolo-sized player, when they're running the show? Like, what's a challenge for you as a defense?
The biggest thing is that with their size, they're able to see over double teams. So when you're doubling like smaller guards, and CJ talked to me about this a little bit. It's kind of a tangent, but he was saying there's a lot of times when he shoots the ball, he doesn't see the rim until he gets up to like the top of his shot. And I'm just amazed that he's able to shoot like that. Like, he shoots at a really high level for not being able to see the rim until it gets to the top of his shot. Like, I see the rim all the time, and I just couldn't imagine like not seeing the rim shooting the ball. So a little bit of a tangent, but it's also the same with, those bigger guards. They're coming off pick and roll, and they're able to see that low man, and they're able to decipher if they're going to hit the low man or hit the X out let me make sure I say the right terms, the skip pass to the corner or, the person that's rolling to the rim. And so when you have those bigger guards that can see over the defenders, it makes it a lot harder for, guys that really try to throw a different bunch of looks at them.
I mean, you can't have a bad seat at a concert.
No.
Never mind a bad look at the rim, right?
Yeah, never. Never. I'm normally told to sit down a lot of times. So.
Yeah, you're the one ruining the show for other people. Yeah. Or even a team like this year, like the Detroit Pistons. Cade taking a leap this year. Have you faced Detroit yet this year?
No, actually, we have not played them once, which is, we haven't played them once yet. But I've been paying close attention to them, obviously, because Trajan Langdon, he went over there now. Like, love Trajan, my former GM. And also Cade, he's an Excel guy. in the same agency as me. And so, I've known him for a while. And just happy to see them hooping. Like, especially because he's like a good friend of mine. And seeing him in the summertime, he works really hard. And he really puts a lot of time into the game. So just seeing it all come to fruition right now is really great for him.
And with you, this past 21 games, you're averaging 25 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, career high 41 points along the way, career high 11 assists. What changed midway through this year for you?
I get asked this a lot, but it's hard to really say because I think it's just opportunity. Like, that's how it's been for my entire life, really. Like, it's just been opportunity. There's been times where, just people have gotten hurt and I've had to step into a bigger role. And I think being aggressive is like the number one step. Like, you have to have like the mindset, like, all right, I'm going to be aggressive. I'm going to make the right play and I'm going to just play as hard as I can. But I mean, I think it's really just knocking down shots and then, playing off of that. Like, I use my 3-point shot as a weapon. And then after that, I just make dominoes fall.
I mean, you've always been, a high volume off-ball shooter, great catch and shoot guy, great cutter. At Virginia, I remember one of the reasons why I liked you in the draft is because, at his size, he can roll, finish as well. There's a lot of versatile ways to utilize him. The on-ball impacts, there's flashes, but doing it at the volume you are shows that your potential could be higher than a lot of people expected. Are you seeing more within yourself than maybe you could have anticipated looking back in your life, or did you always see yourself reaching the point that you've been playing at right now?
I'd be lying to you if I said I saw this coming. I'll be lying to you if I said that. I will say though, growing up, I've always had the ball in my hand. I was in 7th grade, I was a point guard. I was small. I had to, handle the ball.
You had a late growth spurt?
Yeah, I got into high school at about 5'8", and then I left high school at around 6'5". And so then I grew in college to about 6'8", and then in the league I probably grew 1 more inch. So I've always had guard skills because, I had to because I was much smaller than everybody else. But when I was at Rice, I was playing pretty similar to how I am now, on-ball creation. I wasn't really passing much. That wasn't really in my repertoire. That's what I've been trying to add a little more this year, especially because, recently teams have been double teaming me a lot. So I just have to make the right play. And so that would probably be the biggest change is just the passing aspect.
And you mentioned the opportunity aspect. DeJounte Murray out. Brandon Ingram gets traded. He's missed time this year. Zion in and out of the lineup as well. Opportunity is a big aspect of it. But I do feel like with you, there's been a skill development aspect as well.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. This summer, I worked out a lot I worked on a lot of my ball handling and, skill development because, there's just a point where you don't want to be dependent on other people on the basketball court, especially because you never know, who's going to be on the court, any of that. And so I, wanted to make sure I was I want to make sure that I'm able to get buckets on my own and not have to worry about if somebody's going to pass me the ball or not. And my trainer, Drew Hanlon, he helped me a lot with that as well.
I interviewed Drew Hanlon earlier today, and he FaceTimed you before going on, and he said, which I did not say, first thing he says to you, about to go on with Kevin O'Connor. He says you're one of the best role players in the NBA. And you're like, he didn't say that, which I didn't say. No. You are one of the best role players in the NBA, but you're showing you're more than that.
Yeah, there we go.
You're showing you can be more than that.
There we go.
You're showing you can be more than that.
There we go. Yeah, no, that's Drew right there. Yes. That's Drew for you.
So he pushes you to think bigger like that.
That's one thing that I will say. The skill development part is great. He does good work, but biggest thing is the mental aspect. He's so good at trying to bring out that. All right, you need to think like you're this player if you ever want to reach your potential. You can't think of yourself as small because you won't be, the player that you really want to be. So I think that's what he's helped me a lot with is overall aggressive mindset.
Do you have an example of that this year when you've really taken that aggressive mindset to heart?
Trying to think of some that are appropriate that Drew have told me.
It doesn't have to be appropriate. We can air the inappropriate stuff. We can bleep out any swears.
So, okay, last year we had a bet, and it didn't really work out too great for me because but it was a bet of all right, any game that you don't get you don't get 20 points, you owe me $1,000. Any game that you're over 20 points, I owe you $1,000. Last year wasn't a good year for me, but I just kept that in my mind for this year as well. And I just know myself, like I know that I could be I knew before the season I could be a 20-point per game scorer. And even also too, I was on the podcast and like last year I averaged around like 14.8 or whatever. And he asked me on the show, he said, so how much you think you'll be able to average this year? And I was like, between like 17, 19 or something like that. And he almost just like, he freaked out. He was like, you really think you're only going to get one more bucket like a year? That's it? Like, and so then when you think like that and somebody's telling you like you can't put yourself in a box, then you break out of your own box in a sense.
And you've done that this year.
Yeah.
It seems like, like what you said to me about the mindset of like realizing you can't just rely on others to create shots for you.
Absolutely.
That's especially a fair thing for the Pelicans, considering Zion's injury issues. Unfortunately, hopefully he can stay healthy moving forward. Even DeJounte Murray had some injuries in the past as well. This year he gets hurt again, unfortunately. And Ingram has missed a lot of time as well. Like those core pieces have missed time. So it does only make sense logically for you to say, hey, like regardless of what's happening around me, I can only worry about the things that are in my control and try to improve that aspect of my game. Was that kind of the thinking there? Is like just improving in ways that you're able to control no matter what's going on around you?
Absolutely. And then also too, like I've always had the mindset of just like attacking the summers, and I never want to go into another season and be the same player I was the year before. Like I can't do that. Like that's something that I've always prided myself on, is like really working harder in the summertime, because I just really enjoy like the process. I enjoy getting better. I enjoy being in the gym. So like with that time being spent, I know I'm going to get better.
Now you mentioned that you didn't necessarily see yourself in this spot right now at one point in your life. As that snowballed, like, do you find that like that dream, the idea of what you can be, is growing even more?
To an extent, I would say that okay, so let me rephrase this. I knew for sure I was going to be a really good NBA player. I didn't know when exactly what happened. I didn't know exactly if it would be this soon or later on down the line. Obviously that comes with opportunity. But now like that I'm like in it at the moment, like I feel like it's like I belong. Like I know like I'm doing this because I'm good at basketball. Like just simple as that. It's not like a fluke or any type of, run or anything like that. Like people are saying, oh, he's on like a crazy run. Like I don't feel like I'm on a run. I feel like I'm just hooping. Like this is me. So might sound a little arrogant or whatever, it toes the line, but it's just me being confident in myself.
Nothing wrong with having a little bit of,
you kind of have to be. You kind of have to be. And honestly,
if you want to,
if you want to be like one of those guys, you kind of have to be a little bit of a sicko.
All right, Trey. I think since we're here at All-Star Weekend, it'd be good for us to talk about some of the guys who are almost there, like these underappreciated, unheralded players league-wide. For you, if you had like an all underappreciated team, who were some of the guys that come to mind that you might put on that squad? Besides yourself, of course.
I wouldn't put myself on there. Like
okay.
I'm not trying to be that guy to put myself on, lists and stuff. But so does this have to be underappreciated? Like they're close to being an all-star, just underappreciated in general?
Could be anything. Like for me, one of them would be Denny Avdia, Portland Trailblazers. That's someone that comes to mind for me. Versatile, all-around guy, making a lot of progress this year with the opportunity in Portland. That'd be one of my guys. But it could be anybody, depending on how you define it.
So it's funny you said a guy from Portland. I'm going to go with Kamara. Toumani Kamara. He is an elite defender. And I don't think people really know or have like paid too much attention to like how well, like how good he is on defense. And a lot of times what you'll see is like guys that are tall, lanky, or taller defenders, they give up strength or they give up agility. Like not a lot of them have all the tools. Like he has agility, he has strength, he's smart defensively. So I'll put him on there as one of my underappreciated guys. Who else do I have on there? Man, this is a good question right here. Because like almost you're trying to figure out like what, like who doesn't Like where's like the appreciation level for these people? Like Cade used to be on that list for me all the time, but now like he's an all-star. I feel like he's getting into like that mix. Um, I would say Zach LaVine too. Like Zach LaVine, especially his time with the Bulls this year, he was hooping, and I don't think people really were paying too much attention to it because like they weren't winning as much. But like he was averaging like really high 20s and great splits. Like it was
elite efficiency.
Yeah, really elite
catch and shoot, elite off the dribble from mid range, from three.
Everything.
He's like, a lob guy too.
Yeah, like he literally was doing everything offensively, and I think he's figuring himself out with the Kings as well. Another guy on the Kings is probably Domas, especially since we just saw them 3 times in the past week. I know I've seen the Kings too much. I'm tired of seeing them. So
Kings fans would say to me that I underappreciate Domas Sabonis.
Really?
They would say that about me. It's true.
He had 28 rebounds against his last game.
He's a great player. I like Domas. I appreciate Domas, Kings fans. I very much like Domas, and I'm happy he added the 3-pointer this year. It's added a whole new layer to his offense as well to add the 3.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very important. You got to be able to, space the floor.
Well, Jalen Johnson with the Hawks.
Yeah, no, really good player. And also, he's grown a lot each year. Like, each year he's gotten a lot better. Made really big steps. Like, his first year, he was literally just like a energy, like, transition guy. And now, like, he's getting a little bit more responsibility offensively. And I think he's, been good. He's been good this year. Sad to see that he had season injury, but happens. I'm gonna show some love to my guy. I'm gonna say CJ McCollum.
Okay, that's a good
CJ
one.
McCollum. I feel like he's very underappreciated, especially what year it is in his career. He's getting old, but he's still. My bad.
Was he 32?
33.
33?
Yeah, 33.
Jeez.
But it's different.
Basketball years. I had a conversation on my pod this week about that. Basketball years is different than real life
way
years.
Different.
Yes.
Because now.
Thank you.
No, absolutely.
Tell that to Tom Haberstroh.
No, for sure. Like, we call all the guys over 30 on our team like Unc or stuff like that. Like, CJ's like, he's getting to grandpa. Yeah, he's getting to grandpa status, but like super professional. And he goes in every day and does his job. Like, that's the biggest thing. He's been there just working. So I'm gonna have CJ on that list. I have 3 guys right now, or is it 4?
I think we got 5 total. We had CJ, Avdia.
You had Avdia. I appreciate. He's so also on the list.
Combined team.
Okay, cool.
But if you want to add 2 more, let's add 2 more for your team.
Yeah, I appreciate Denny as well. I think he's a very good player. Let me know. Make sure I say that too. Let's see. I'm thinking of other teams too. Also, Malik Beasley. I've been paying a little bit of attention to Detroit, and he just broke the franchise record for threes in a season. They still have like 28 games left.
Wild.
And I think he's at 217. But what people don't know is like been doing this for like a while. Like even when he was in Utah, he was always in like the mid to high 200s on like threes in a year, and like that's high level shooting. Like that's really high level shooting.
He's really a perfect ad for the Pistons because like last year it's like, oh, lack of spacing for Cade Cunningham. We'll go get Malik Beasley, one of the best shooters in the NBA.
No, absolutely. And then for our final guy, man, I want to say Daniel Gafford. I mean, obviously going through the injury right now, so it's tough, but we played against him, and he's just a monster, man. Like, he's a physical, like, specimen. And he's out there grabbing boards, blocking shots. And, like, some of the dunks that he had during the game of, like, insane. Like,
looks like DeAndre Jordan sometimes, like prime DJ.
Throwing the ball into the rim. Like, up high. Like, there was one I, like, let out, like, oh, wow, like, on the court. And I had to contain myself because, like, that's against us. Like, I can't be doing stuff like that. But it's just impressive what he's able to do on the court, especially like from an athleticism standpoint.
I mean, I hope we get to see that team healthy because like 80 at the 4 with Gafford and Lively.
Absolutely.
But now all 3 of those guys are out. But like in theory, I mean, like it could be beautiful for Kyrie to play with those bigs.
Yeah, and then also just like the confidence you have on defense when you know you got AD and Daniel Gafford behind you. It's like You know what? I'll take a possession off. Good luck. Go ahead.
The trade still shocks me that it actually happened.
I was very shocked, but it was like, all right, trade does not matter who you are or what you've been doing. You can get traded.
Yeah, it's true.
You can get traded.
Did put that into perspective for you?
No, absolutely. No, it truly did. Like, it was like, it really doesn't matter. Like, it's truly a business. No matter if you think like what you've done has been like, oh yeah, I should be untouchable. No, because everybody would have told you, Luka, Steph, Giannis, those guys are untouchable. But seems like it's not the case.
It's definitely not the case.
Yeah.
This weekend, you're out here in SF. Today, on Saturday, we're recording this. You did some interviews with players. What needs to happen for you to go from All-Star Game player correspondent to All-Star Game participant? What is the gap that you need to close for that to happen in the years to come?
Win games. Simple as that. I think the biggest thing is just winning games. As you see, just to bring up an example, obviously he's a great player, but LaMelo Ball, like this year, he had phenomenal numbers. And, his team wasn't really winning like that. So you don't really get rewarded for not winning. So that's the biggest thing, I think, for us is we got to win because that's what's most important. You don't want to hear like the whole empty stats thing, and that drives people crazy.
On a run, as you said. Yeah.
Correct. So that's my focus, is just winning games. That's the best way to, become an all-star is, contribute to winning games and do it at a high level.
And this year, you're averaging 8 pick and rolls run per game. That's up from 2.4 last year, 1.2 the year before, 0.5 your rookie season.
I'm surprised it was 2.4 last year. I'm surprised it's 2.4.
And with that pick and roll, I think for you, being able to run that more often, especially with Ingram gone, assuming Zion can stay healthy, that adds a brand new layer to that offense. Now with Zion, he's been way better as of late with his recent stretch. He's been playing more consistently. Fill in this blank for me. Zion Williamson, when healthy, is a top blank player in the NBA.
Top 15, probably. Top 15 within that All-NBA category.
That's fair.
I think that's pretty fair.
I think it's very fair. I mean, like recently I had talked on my podcast last week. I think it's last, 15 games or something like that. He's shooting 71% in the restricted area, which is close to his prime levels, set to 72%. Earlier in the season, he was down to 52%. Last year, he was at 62%. But like recently, he feels back.
Bro, he had 40 in 28 minutes against Sacramento. I don't think people understand how insane that is. And it's no threes.
Are you feeling the difference with him on the floor right now?
Yeah, for sure. And also, we've been trying to, like, a big focus for us is like getting better, like trying to figure out ways to, do different things and see what works. And me and him been doing a lot more 2-man game, just me and him middle of the floor, figuring out ways to get each other shots and just create more offense for our team. And so I think it's been some good synergy because, a lot of times his man is back far off from him. And so when he hands the ball off to me, his man has to come up, and if he comes too high, then I can dump it off to him and he gets layups like easy. Like, there's times like, I think it was even like the Thunder game, I had 7 assists or so, and like 3 of them was just pocket passes to him, and he's just being an athlete and just getting to the rim.
I mean, the interesting thing is you talk about it. It's like making me think about, for years, through media and fans, people are talking about, well, how's the Ingram-Zion fit going to be? Zion doesn't shoot threes. Ingram's a reluctant three-point shooter. He's more of a mid-range guy. With you and Zion together, it's more like, oh, Trey Murphy is this elite shooter. We know that. Now he's showing he can do more off the dribble. He's showing he can pass more. And Zion's still this dominant at-rim guy, downhill bully ball. I feel like the fit with you, too, that 2-man game stuff, could be pretty unbelievable if he's able to stay healthy and if you continue ascending.
No, absolutely. I mean, you see it. It's obviously different players and different scales, but like you see like the way that Draymond and Steph play together. They like Draymond finds him, he sets screens from him, like also reluctant shooter.
Steph and Butler right now, we're kind of seeing that early stages.
Yeah, exactly that too. So it's just almost like a yin and yang type of thing. Like defenses can't take away both. You can't take away the three and the pocket, so you have to pick one. And most of the times, choice is going to be a great choice.
It is kind of crazy with you guys, though, because like I think it was last season, I forget which year, maybe the year before that, I was like, Pelicans, like, if everything works out, maybe they can make a deep run. And it's like you look at the pieces on paper for you guys, it's like Herb Jones, one of the best defenders in the league by far. Zion, top 10, top 15-ish player when healthy. Obviously pre-trade Ingram, pre-injury DeJounte Murray. Like there's a lot of talent on the roster. Jordan Hawkins, like there's good young players as well for you guys. Missy, one of the best young centers in basketball, but it hasn't led to winning. But besides the health and besides the injuries, what are some of the reasons why you feel like it hasn't just clicked on the floor this year for you guys?
I mean, the biggest thing is chemistry. Like, you got to play together. Like, we never, like, even from the start of training camp, like, I played the first day of training camp, and then the next morning when we played again, I pulled my hamstring. I was out for 6 weeks. And so, you know, I wasn't a part of that, group to build chemistry. And at the end of the day, it's a new team. Like, from last year, it was basically a new team. We didn't have a lot of our second unit guys, and the starting main unit was different this time now, adding DeJounte. And so when that happened, that was already a piece like, all right, we couldn't build chemistry. And that's the most important thing, for teams winning, is just knowing who you're playing with. Because there's just a lot of times, like early on during the year, it'd be like for example, like Javonte Green, like a lot of times in the corners, he's a cutter. And me not knowing exactly what he wants to do, I might pass the ball to the corner while he's cutting. So it's like he's zigging when you think he's gonna zag. And so now you're like, all right, now we gotta build that chemistry. And so that's really what I would attribute it to, is that we just haven't played together. And like it makes a world of difference that people I don't think really like understand.
So it's like a byproduct of the absences, byproduct of the health. It's
For
just
sure.
how that impacts chemistry.
Yeah, like I understand like injuries, like everybody's saying, oh, injuries means like, yes, that is like a really big thing. Like obviously we're all basketball players, we're all really good basketball players, but you still have to, it's still a team. You still have to, build that time together.
I mean, you kind of like shook your head as I was talking about what you guys, the potential you showed a couple of years ago. I mean, do you think about like what if a lot of the time with the way things were?
I vividly remember December of 2022 being some of the most fun basketball I've ever played in my entire life. We're number one in the West. We had beat Phoenix in a home and home, signed us like a 360 windmill. We played Denver for the number one seed, beat them by like 20. And I was just like, this is like peak basketball right here. That was when Zion got Player of the Month as well. Willie got Coach of the Month. It was just a great time. Like we were winning, having so much fun. And I just, want to get back to that at some point. Like I really do. And it's hard to really think about that and not get to that moment.
What have you learned through the losing?
I think the biggest thing is the margins. Like throughout a game, like each possession is so valuable. And it really, like, there's been many games that we've had where we've been up late or up at halftime, lost in the third quarter, ended up winning the fourth quarter. Like when we played in Denver, we ended up losing by like, I want to say like 30 or so. And it was all because of the third quarter. We had tied or beat them in every other quarter, but the third quarter we lost. And it's just stuff like that where you gotta, figure out, all right, what's happening right now, fix it so it doesn't lead to a loss later on.
What's something you learned in that particular game?
I think we can't let things snowball. Like if we have a turnover or we have like a defensive mishap, that's when you have to pull the guys together and be like, refocus, lock back in, figure out what we need to do to, get back on track. Because basketball's a game of runs. Like it's gonna happen. Like it's gonna happen. But you can't have 15-0 lapses, 20-0 lapses, like stuff like that, because then it just kills your momentum.
Is that in part like a leadership thing? It's like such a young team. So I know you have CJ McCollum, but like it's still a young group overall.
Yeah, it can go down. It can boil down to a number of things, but I feel like we also try to lead by committee as well. It's not just like one specific person that, we designate him as a leader. One of the biggest things for us as a team is that we are probably one of the closest teams that you'll ever see. Like we all love each other, all joking around, stuff like that. So communicating.
Rare for a 13-42 team to be close.
Correct.
Like,
so
those fracture a lot.
Yeah, correct. And so I will say that we communicate off the court really well. There's times where we definitely got to communicate better on the court. And I think a big part of that is like not having Herb. Herb defensively was our, like, I don't even want to say, I guess like our Draymond to an extent. Like he was quarterbacking the defense. Like there's so many times where
Big
I'm playing.
Talker, communicator.
Yeah, huge. Like like I said, you've seen what our defensive rating is now. Not great at all. With Herb in the lineup, we were top 5 or so. So it's tough not having that. And, we just try to figure out ways to make up for that.
It feels like you don't want to use the young team thing as an excuse, which is fair considering OKC is
I was
the
about to
favorite.
say, OKC is young, super young, so probably younger than us. So
I think they are younger than you
exactly.
guys.
So, you
age.
can't use that one for us.
With OKC, from like a basketball fan standpoint, when you step out like outside of your position in the league, is it almost surprising to see them at the top this soon?
No.
No?
No. We played them my second year. This is when this was like earlier in the year. And I just remember every time we played them, we would be up 20 and they'd find a way to claw back. And like they were so pesky defensively, like really elite. And I was just like, they're one piece away, like one like rim protector away. And this is when this was like before Chet. And I was like, they're really good. Like they really have a chance. And then Shea, he was really poised. And then I saw it in that playing game that we played against them in New Orleans. Like just the poise that he had throughout the game. It was like, all right, he's really like, he's like the real deal. And so then when they were number 1 in the West, like I wasn't really super surprised because I just saw it. They were just well coached. They played hard and they all play for each other. So that's a recipe for success.
I mean, you mentioned the signs of their defense 2 seasons ago, and now they're like number 1 in defensive rating by a pretty wide margin. What is your assessment of their defense? What makes it so elite in this year's NBA?
Well, this year's team, they don't have a single minus defender. Like all of them defend at a high level. So a lot of times what teams' offenses are built around is just attacking, mismatches. And they don't really have them. They don't have any mismatches out there because even though Shea is like their guy offensively, like you can't, like you're not just attacking him because he still gets a lot of steals. He stays in front of his man, all that stuff. And then they got Lou Dort on the wing. J-Dub's been playing really well defensively. They got Chet and Hart back there protecting too. It's a tough team to, score on. They're super handsy. And one thing that you'll see is that they play so physical and the referees can't call every foul. So it's just like they get away with a lot of stuff to an extent because the referees can't call every foul because then literally the game will just not go, like it will just be too slow.
Then the game would definitely be very boring.
It would be very boring then, for sure.
That's true. I mean, I think with OKC, one of the things that I'm really interested to see in the second half of the season with them is we've seen Chet and Ihart play, 4 games together since they've been both been down the floor. But the ability for them to play with 2 bigs, Chet can space on offense, can handle on offense, but then defensively, like Chet can defend on the perimeter as well.
I mean, we were one of the 4 games that they played together, and we saw it defensively, and it was tough. Yeah, it was definitely tough.
I think that was the game where maybe Ihart or maybe it was Chet like rotating over from the perimeter, blocked a couple shots or altered some shots near the rim. Like if Chet's in help instead of being the primary interior defender, I think it makes them even harder potentially to score against, especially against certain teams in the playoffs.
Absolutely. That's what the playoffs are about, is just having lineup flexibility.
Chet defended you a couple possessions too, right?
Yeah, he did.
Did he block you once?
Nah, he fouled me.
He fouled you.
Yeah, he fouled me. He fouled me.
He blocked someone else in ISO. I forget who it was.
Not me. Nope. You can check the tape. It was not me. Nope.
Well, yes, I believe you. But no, I think with, in the West this year, Denver's still the team that I can't quit. I still feel like with Jokic and the way they've really coalesced over the course of the year, they're the team that I think could take down OKC personally.
I'll tell you one thing too. They have the ultimate home court advantage. Playing at 5,000 feet is absolutely insane. Insane. After we were there for like 4 or 5 days and we played them at home.
You're like below sea level normally. In New Orleans,
I think we're 3 feet below. So yeah, going up to 5,000 is a lot different. And they run, like they push the pace. And so just the way they've been playing great basketball. And then obviously Jamal Murray just had 55 points. Yeah, it was like it's hard to beat them when they're scoring like that.
So you feel that, like, how does it affect you, like in terms of fatigue over the course of the game? Is it physical? Is it mental?
I mean, it's a little bit both. I mean, a lot of it is just, you just don't have a lot of air. Like, I mean, I feel like a lot of people they try to talk about it, trying to think about it. And like, you try not to think about it. But then when they have the signs like, oh, low oxygen, blah, 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 this and the third. And then you run it and you're just like, like you got to figure out, you got to find a way. And it's tough, but you just you muster through it, but it's definitely a real thing though. Like it's not something that you're just gonna ignore.
How about in Utah? Utah is like at higher elevation as well.
Yeah, I
Just don't
want to
feel it
say
as much,
Utah is like it's either 1,000 or it's 3,000. I
but you
want to
don't
say.
feel it as much there.
No, you do.
You
You
do?
do. And it's not the same, but you definitely feel a little bit of the altitude for sure.
What are the arenas that are hardest to play in besides Denver because of the altitude? Whether it's crowd noise or
But
sight
see,
lines, whatever it might be.
so this gets into my sicko, a little bit of my sicko category and folder here too, because I actually really like playing on the road because I love like haters. Like I enjoy like people hating and like yelling at me and all that stuff because it feels like that whole like man in the arena type of feeling. And I enjoy it. Like it's really like fun for me. Like whenever people are talking trash courtside, like it amps me up and it's like, all right, like I really gets me into that like competing like sicko mode.
What's something a fan said that put you in that sicko mode the most? Craziest thing someone said to you?
Oh, I don't know if you want to hear the craziest thing, but
We can bleep it out.
yeah. Let's see. There's been a few moments I've had. It's funny. There's actually a picture I have on my Instagram when we played Miami last year. It turned out being one of Jimmy Butler's like homies and friends, and like me and Jimmy Butler had the same chef in Miami, and so during the game, he's talking trash. He was like, "Oh, like you ain't gonna make that, blah blah," and like I hit a shot like right in front of him. I look back, he was like, "Oh, that's luck." I came down, hit another three, and then they set a screen for me up top. I hit another three, and they called a timeout. And I looked at him. I said, "It's your fault." I said, "It's your fault. Like this happened because of you." And it's literally a picture of me pointing at him, and it's like that stuff is just fun for me. And then also too, I ended up meeting him. He was like, "Man, my bad." I mean, and I'm like, "Bro, it's a part of the game. Like people get like offended or they think like we're gonna take it to heart, and like it's a part of competition. It's part of the like I never take any like the stuff that happens on the court personal because my court personality and who I am outside of the court are two totally different people. So
How about like trash talk online with fans in your mentions?
ooh,
Do you use that as motivation too?
yeah, there was a time my second year. I stopped doing it now, but there was a time my second year, like I would come into halftime and I would see like tweets and stuff like, "Oh, Trey, you suck, blah blah blah, this and that, third," and I'd be like, "Bet," and then I go back out there and I just start hooping, and I'll just be looking at those tweets like, "Oh, I bet you're quiet now," like type of stuff. But I also respond to people from time to time on Instagram because I'm just not gonna let you just say like anything.
Oh, like DMs?
Yeah, DMs
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Like there's times people have been like, "Oh, like you suck, like you cost me this on this parlay," and I'll respond back like, "Bro, I don't care. Like, don't care about you or your parlay, bro."
I've noticed a lot of the times if you respond to somebody like in a DM, they'll kind of backtrack.
The funniest one I've had was my rookie year preseason. This guy DM'd me because I dunked it with like 10 seconds left and it messed up the spread, I guess, or the over under. I don't know exactly what it was. I can't remember exactly what it was. He DM'd me. It was like, "Oh, why would you do that? You cost me blah, blah, this and that third." I responded back. I said, "Bro, if you're betting preseason games, you need to call a hotline." Like, that's the first problem. And so then he was like, "Oh, man, I didn't even think you would respond." And then like he said, "Man, like, blah, blah." And then he sent me the slip. First of all, he got one of the things wrong already. So it didn't even matter my dunk. You already got one of the things wrong. So I said, "Bro, like it didn't even matter. Like if I didn't dunk it or did like you weren't gonna win anyway." He's like, "Oh, I didn't see that." He's like, "Man, you're kind of nice, bro. Like, can you send me a jersey?" I said, "No." Like, "No, I'm not sending you no
You
jersey."
should have sent him a custom jersey with like the helpline number in the back.
No, that's actually a good idea. Like,
Yeah, you can take that for next time it happens.
I might have to rearrange some stuff. I think I like that one.
I'm sure Pelicans PR can help you organize that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, something like that.
It is true. If you're betting preseason basketball,
Call the hotline.
just wait. Wait until the regular season.
Call the hotline. If you are betting preseason basketball, call the hotline.
I mean, it's true, man. Like preseason, like you can't even predict anything in preseason.
You can't. You don't even know how much minutes people are going to
No,
play.
exactly.
Like none of that. Like
it's literally like a roll of the dice. But maybe I guess that's the appeal.
I guess like that. I mean, I guess that's like the sickos of betting.
Yeah,
Like, so,
exactly.
yeah.
Anything else stand out to you this year? What's been interesting on your mind with the NBA this season? Because you mentioned it's not boring to you. You still have fun playing it. You still have fun watching it. You have fun talking about it. All of these things. What do you think about the state of the NBA right now? Where people talk about the playing style, too many threes, all this and that, changing quarters. Like, what's been on the mind of Trey Murphy?
I really think people just get tired of, what's normal or what like has been happening. But if you really look at the game, it's just like, depends on who you watch. Like if you watch Denver, like, yeah, they shoot a lot of threes, but they shoot a lot of twos as well. Like the biggest thing is just shoot the highest field goal percentage and take what the defense gives you. A lot of times teams are playing the numbers game. It's like, all right, we're going to shoot more threes because if we shoot more threes than they shoot twos or than they shoot threes, more than likely we're going to win because it's just a math problem. And so we don't really care about like, oh, like it's boring product, blah, blah. We want to win. So if you don't think it's fun to watch, it's not up to us. We're just trying to win games. Now, are they not going to watch the playoffs? No, you're still going to watch the playoffs. You're still going to watch the finals. So I just think people always want to find something to complain about. That's really what the biggest thing is.
I mean, ultimately, like I think NBA people complained about the state of the game when I was a kid. Like I'm 34 right now. I remember early 2000s. It's like, oh, too much ISO ball, too much ball hogging. In the 90s, it's like, oh, is there too much, post ups at that time? Like, like Thinking Basketball, that YouTube channel run by Ben Taylor, they did a great video.
He's really recently. Good. Yeah, he's awesome. Really good. It's the one that got Wemby on there, and then like the cover art is like Wemby, Jordan, Braun.
Talking about the state of the game through different eras, and it's the truth. I mean, there's always been complaints about the game, and I think what's undeniable, though, with today's game is the talent level is better than it's ever been. That's what I think is like undeniable. Regardless of what you think stylistically, the skill level is better than ever. That's for sure.
Oh, don't get me started with that. Don't get me started with that because my dad has so many arguments with me all the time about like, because he's one of those, like he played at ECU, like he didn't play after that, but he played at ECU, so he had a little bit of a basketball career. And
does he tell you couldn't play in Jordan's era?
Oh my goodness. It's like, man, you kids today, y'all just so soft. You're like, blah, blah, this, that, and the third. Like,
y'all Dad's saying that?
Yes.
He watches you play.
Yeah.
He sees the skill.
Yes, but he's still a hater. That's where I get my, hater, my hater vibes from. So like, I'll just be like, Dad, like, it's just different now. Like for me, like if I played in that era, like 6'8", can dribble, can shoot the ball, athlete, they're going to think I'm an alien. Like now almost every team at least has one of those guys that are skilled, able to shoot, tall. Like it's just, that's normal now. Like every kid is growing up to be like that.
Every big shooting threes for the most part.
Every big is shooting threes. And
Zach Edey shoots like 2 threes in 4 years at Purdue, and now he's shooting 37%.
And he hit two against us too. I was hot. I was mad. I was mad about that too. And he didn't hesitate. Mm-hmm. Like he just shot it with so much confidence. And like I respect it. Like I'm all for, big shooting threes too. If you're capable, obviously, if you're capable. Yeah. But yeah, no, I had that conversation with my dad. Like the game is different, the pace of play is different, which is also why I think, you might see more injuries now than you did back then because people are moving fast now. Like you are changing pace, changing direction, and like you're having to do a lot of things that are just high stress. If you watch a lot of those games in the 90s, they're backing people down from half court. Like
move slow.
Very. Like it's hard to get hurt if you're just walking around.
You're not flying around on a defensive rotation from one side of the court to the other.
No, it's not like I got to be low man, meet a guy at the charge circle, get back out to another shooter, defend another ball screen, come back down, rebound. Like that's not really happening. Like that wasn't happening back then like that.
And
like
that adds wear and tear to the physical body.
And you're doing that for close to 38 minutes. Like their guys are playing a lot of minutes again. Like it's tough. It's tough on the body.
I mean, I think like the NBA, it will be interesting to see if at some point they do change the 3-point line or change some type of the rules, maybe allow a little bit more aggression on the perimeter. But ultimately, though, I still think the game's in a good overall spot. Personally, I do.
I do too. I mean, the only hot take I have is, and it's a little outlandish, but I think they shouldn't count half-court shots against your 3-point percentage.
Oh, I agree.
Like, especially under 5 seconds, like, shouldn't count under your percentage because...
There's a heave.
Yeah, it's literally
separate category.
Yeah, it literally should be a separate category. And because there's a lot of guys that just will not shoot them because they know it's going to count against a percentage. And it's not, like, a lot of times it's within their contract or within their shoe deals. Like, all right, if I shoot a certain percentage, like, I get this amount of money. And they're like, why would I shoot a half-court shot? And it probably won't go in. And then it hurts my percentage.
That's true. I mean, I think that's part of it, like with players, because it counts towards contract.
Absolutely.
Right? It's a lot of the time.
And then teams come in and they'll be like, you shot 34% this year. But it's like, it's like they said, I took
7 heaves.
Yeah, I took 7 heaves. Like, that shouldn't even count.
Yeah,
but
like put me below 35% or whatever the threshold is for contracts.
No, exactly.
I saw Kobe as your wallpaper.
Yeah, it's been that I think it's been since my sophomore year in high school. Yeah, Kobe was my idol. Yeah, that was my idol.
In what ways does he inspire you?
Biggest thing is the process. Like what he used to speak about, like, being obsessed with the process, not the results. And like that's the real journey. Like that last speech that he had on his fair, that also just got me some PTSD because my mom made me go to sleep that night because I had school the next day. I was mad about that. And I woke up next morning and she was like, "Oh yeah, Kobe had 60." I'm like,
crazy.
Stop, Mom. Stop it.
You missed that game live?
Yes. Oh, my mom made me go to sleep.
Oh my God.
She made me go to sleep.
Damn.
So yeah.
How old were you at the time?
We don't need to talk about how old I was because I was a little old for.
Oh, you're in high school though.
I was in high school, so
clearly she's the boss of the house.
Oh yeah, no, they don't play about academics in my house. Do not play at all. Nah, that was books were first.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Rice University because they said you're gonna get a good job at least. That's gonna be the main goal. You're gonna have a good job. If you play basketball, then great, but you're gonna get a good education first.
Breaking the rules that night.
Yeah, I should have. For Kobe on his last game, should have. Especially, waking up seeing he had 60. I was hurt. I was hurt by that one. But yes, back to what I was saying. The process has been like the biggest thing that I've taken from what he spoke about.
What's something like from Kobe, that he said? Like I think later in his career, post career, he became a lot more philosophical.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like what's a Kobe lesson that or a mantra that sticks with you?
It's kind of similar to what situation we're in now, but don't quote me word for word, but I wanted to say it has something to do with it won't storm forever, but when it stops, you need to be ready. And so it's been something that's really stuck with me, especially like right before my third year, I tore my meniscus. And, going into a contract year with a torn meniscus is stressful, very, very stressful. But I just had to put myself into a different mindset of, all right, it already happened. Only thing I can do now is just get better and try to, work towards, being a better basketball player. And, it's helped a lot. Definitely helped a lot. Love playing basketball. Like I literally eat.
You don't do anything else?
Not much.
Gamer,
no.
Movies.
I will say I do game from time to time.
Like 2K? Is it just playing NBA 2K?
No, see, I don't play 2K because that game gets me mad.
Yeah.
You know what?
So
I'm not going to say that. Actually. I love 2K, actually. So, love 2K. But I play 2K from time to time, but I've been on Call of Duty a lot more.
Oh, yeah. Playing Warzone?
That's like my only, yeah.
What do you think about the state of the game right now?
So, okay, I get this, like people talk about this a lot, but I just started playing Warzone probably like last year.
Oh, you missed the prime.
So that's the thing. Like everybody's saying, oh, like Warzone used to be so much good, like so much better. Like I like it how it is now. Like I have fun. I play with my friends and it's my little breakaway from basketball.
It's mine as well. I play with friends. It's like good to catch up and
absolutely.
hang out with the boys.
That's really all it is because like I'm not out there getting 25 kills, 30 kills. I'm very average. Like
you getting wins though?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm contributing. I'm a team player. I'm gonna revive my guys when I need to. Like
you're a role player.
All right. Yep. There we go. Yep. I'm a role player in Call of Duty. There we go.
It's okay. I am too. Sometimes I go off for a 18 kill game.
Every once in a while. Yeah. Every once in a blue moon, when the XM4 was really good with 100.
I know. Now the Model L, the meta right now.
It's okay.
It doesn't hit the same as the XM4.
It's different now.
Yeah,
it's different now.
I'm looking forward to the sniper meta again.
That is so much fun. Yeah. That's one of Call of Duty's really
nice
fun.
Sniper SMG or even a sniper shoddy snipes.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of the fire shotties whenever they're good,
I love
but
the fire shotty.
when I have them against them, awful.
You watch streamers at all?
From time to time, like what I'll do, like within my routine, like after I take my nap game days, like sometimes I'll just watch Call of Duty because like when I'm at home, I'll play like before the game.
I like Bobby Puff. He used to love the fire shotty when that was.
I haven't heard of him before, but
Bobby Puff, loud. He's very tall. He could be a basketball player in about a year. He's like 6'7".
Oh wow,
6'8". Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, big likes the fire shotty. But with Warzone, is it basketball friends or is this like high school friends you're playing with?
Okay, so it's mainly basketball friends, but so one of my best friends, actually Quincy Oliveri, he played with the Lakers. He was played in preseason, played really well, all that stuff. And, I kept in touch with him since Rice. That's where we went to school together. And then I got introduced to his friend group, and I played a lot of Warzone with his friend group. And then also Jeremiah Robinson, Earl, my teammate, I played Warzone with him, Herb Jones, Jose, if he answers the phone from time to time. But yeah, that's my group of guys.
If when Verdance comes back later this year, your numbers dip, I'll understand why. Because you'll get to experience.
I mean, Rebirth right now, I don't even play that one. It's too sweaty for me.
Rebirth is really sweaty. But I still have fun with it too. The game's not as good as its peak, but like Draymond said, sometimes it can be a little boring with Warzone.
Absolutely.
But I still have a lot of fun with it. Appreciate you coming on my show. Thank you.